Hi, how you guys doing? It's Sting on here, and yeah, I played Mouthwashing, that's what it's called. I have a few things to say on this game. I should have expected this to really be a gruesome game. I'm just honestly like shocked. I honestly don't play horror games a lot. It's never been my cup of tea, but for some reason I was interested in this game. I heard a lot of good things about it, but I knew literally nothing about it. So I went on ahead and I gave it a go. Decided to stream it. Thought it'd be a quick game, less than 4 hours, and turns out, yeah, it's about the length of a movie, 2 hours long on average. My playtime was about 2 hours, and I want to say I regret playing this game. And I only say that because of just the harsh realization of what people would do in desperate situations. Full spoiler warning, I'm going to be spoiling the crap out of this game, so if you haven't played it or watched a gameplay of it and you want to, then go ahead and do that before watching this. But the whole time while I was playing this game, I was just thinking about what is motivating Jim. Jim is just this main character who just does not have good morals at all. I'm just confused at every action that he did. It's just a hard realization. I can only imagine how desperate times would get when you're stuck on a spaceship with a rapidly deteriorating food supply. So we got 5 characters, okay? And I just want to go through them real quick. We have the guy we mainly play as being Jim. Absolutely a terrible human. When I initially beat the game, and this is honestly my only critique on the game, I didn't realize that Jim was the one who crashed the ship. There's this specific part in the game where you see him, this is towards the end of the game, where you see him on the ground and you're quickly trying to stop the ship. It happened so fast that I didn't realize I was playing as Curly. I thought I was playing as Jim. I went right past the dialogue box where you talk to Jim because I was just such in a rush to try to stop the ship. Although this is a flashback and I already knew that the ship crashes, of course, and I already knew about that. So I guess that's more of my fault than anything. So when I beat the game, yeah, sure, I still thought Jim was a piece of crap for things he did. The thing he did specifically to both the other characters, the one girl who I felt so bad for her the entire time. The second that Jim opened his mouth talking to her, I was just mad at this guy. I'm like, why are you speaking to her in that manner? Even though she's a nurse, you know the situation's tough and you're just being a jerk. Like, it was just awful, and I already got a bad feeling. And yeah, it only got worse from there. And just his hypocrisy. I don't want this to be a rant about Jim because there's so many great things I could talk about this game. The unraveling of the story, the writing, it's fantastic, and the way they presented everything is just incredible. It's one of the best short story games that's a psychological horror game that I've played like this. It's really the first of its kind that I've played, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was perfectly long enough. If it was any longer, I would have got exhausted. There was a few times where I got stuck. I had no idea what I was supposed to do, but I got through it, just a little of a gaming learning curve, I guess you could say. But man, Jim is awful. Not only for what he did to the girl, which is an entire rabbit hole in itself, but what he did to the king of the hill, man, the old dude. This dude, honestly, I liked him as a character for the most part. I didn't like what he did, obviously, to the other dude, who's, we can all agree, one of the best characters, if not the best character. The only chill guy, the intern guy, was the only guy who had some reasonable sense. He was just chill, he was upbeat, he was just this guy who just wanted to do right. And yeah, what the old man did to him was tragic, of course, but you could almost understand that. My only critique with the story in itself is the fact that how the heck is Curly still alive? Really, like, this guy is surviving like that. He's surviving like that, and then the old man decides to kill the intern because he wanted to take him out of his misery. Bruh, what about Curly? Bruh, this dude has been screaming on the ship if he doesn't get his painkillers every 20 minutes. Whatever. I get it was a necessary point of the story to keep him alive, but it was just something I noticed that's a little hypocritical of the game, I guess. But this game really executed so many things well, mainly how it unraveled the story. That's a real big hit or miss for games, especially indie games. It's not often where you can expect an indie game to tell a story like this in such a good way. Games like DDLC just drag on for so long. And I get that it's a completely different game. And I guess in DDLC's case, it purposely drags on because it wants you to think it's a different type of game. So I guess I could understand that, but Mouthwashing knows what kind of game it is, and it just executes very well on it. It's just dark, it's creepy. It's really not a game I would play again because I'm gonna be thinking about this game for a little while. Great art direction. I mean, like, it's a fantastic game all around. The fact that an indie team can do something like this is just so inspiring. There's a lot of really cool stuff. Like, they did a great job on these horror elements. And then, of course, the game just ends in this ambiguousness. It ends with Jim putting Curly in the cryopod to save him after everything, thinking Jim is doing right. And yes, that is the one semi-redeemable thing that Jim did throughout everything else. He decided to save Curly instead of himself. But after everything, there is no forgiving this man for what he did to the nurse girl, for what he did to the old man, for what he did to everybody, for sabotaging everybody on that ship because he was mad he was losing his job and he knocked a girl up. I don't know. It's a brutal story. It's a brutal story, which is also why I'm very happy the developers made these Steam Award cutscenes that have been posted on the internet after the fact to lighten it up, to make it feel like, oh, these are just actors and they're not actually they're video game characters. I like stuff like this. I like stuff like that. In another universe where they all lived. But yeah, this game also gets just gross. Of course, the survivability being the fact that they have to survive on mouthwash just gets so gross. The fact that this game brings up nasty stuff like cannibalism is just not pleasant to watch, to play it. But of course, that's a part of the horror. So gotta respect it for executing on what it intended to do. And it did a great job at that. And it told a great story. And I suppose it was just a brutal reminder that humans could do some pretty terrible things. But with that being said, humans could also do some pretty honorable things, like the intern, trying to be a nice dude, trying to go in the vent and do the right thing, even though he shouldn't have. He should have not done that. He should have not listened to Jim. Jim's an idiot. Nobody likes Jim. Subscribe if you don't like Jim. Subscribe if you think the intern's cool and Jim sucks. Anyway, guys, that's just my unfiltered thoughts on this game. Played it this morning and just wanted to talk about it. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Check out my website. I make cool merchandise. I make cool t-shirts. I'm a clothing brand owner. Plug. All right, bye.